But by way of introduction, I guess, Extension Oz, what Dan Cotton, the original director of e-extension in America, really emphasised to us when we first started getting involved in this space was it's easy to focus on the nouns. So, and by that he meant like as you get involved, you get your websites going, you focus on getting your information going, you're engaging with people, but you're actually just getting people signed up. So it's really making all those sort of, I guess, the instrumental things happen. But the verb, as he used to call it, was really what the whole goal of the extension approach is about, which is the interactions and the engagement with people. And that's the point of difference between a community of practice or an e-extension model and other forms of extension. So it is that engagement that I think at the end of the day we're all looking for. But Kel has been involved in this space right from the very word go, and it's great that she's going to share her learnings and also the learnings of Sarah Brown, who's very kindly stepped in as well to present in this space as she goes about engaging with the Young Farmers Business Network. So across to you, Kel.
Hello, everybody. So I can see there is around 10 people online. So thank you for joining. So yeah, we thought we'd just, myself and Sarah Brown, who's been working in our team with the Field Crop Diseases community practice, but also with the Young Farmer Business Network. She's also been developing some e-learns and stuff. So she's really sort of stepped into that space and been helping, I guess, grow the engagement in terms of social media and online with the website with the Young Farmer Business Network. So what we really wanted to show and share with you today is the learnings that we've had from other social media and websites and community practices that we've worked with implementing and kicking off a brand new community practice. So the Young Farmer Business Network, it's still not officially launched, but we made it go live back in November. So this is a bit of our journey so far. So I guess as a start, so just talking with Gavin just before everyone came on board. So to get us all starting in the chat function. So today we really want to make this very two-way. So if everyone opens their chat function, and I'm going to ask a couple of quick questions to get started. So firstly, on a rating scale of 1 being terrible engagement, none next to none, 3 being average, and 5 being amazing and couldn't get any better. So yeah, we'll enter the first question. So I'll put here question 1. I don't want to hit paste because I don't know what I'll be pasting. So rate your engagement with your community practice members from a 1 to 5. So we've got some 2s, some 1.5s, a couple of terribles, and some just above terrible. I reckon our Young Farmer Business Network, what do you reckon, Sarah? Could we claim average yet?
Pushing it.
2.5. I'm ever the optimist. Alrighty. And then the second question, so I'll put here before I run at question 2 so we can separate it. So rate your current engagement with the community of interest. So the users of your content from, again, a 1 being terrible through to 5 being amazing. And if you do 5, then you should be doing this presentation for me.
Got the lead so far, Gavin.
You do, 3.5, nice. Alrighty, so if I make sure I'm on the right screen. Okay, so as we're going, so we will, hopefully everyone's almost put something in the chat box. If you haven't, I really want you to encourage you to add things as we go through. So these are really just experiences from what myself and Sarah have learned and we put into this presentation. I know that there's lots of other ideas and things that you've used and tried in your own communities of practice. So as I'm going, share. And then also if you think you've got some ideas for us, put in the chat box as well. So we're completely open to trying new things. So just as a bit of background for those who don't know me, so work with Agriculture Victoria, getting close to hitting the 20-year mark in the department. And in terms of online networks, so I've been involved with the field crop diseases community practice since the commencement of those through the iterations on extensionAUS and now with GRDC communities. So with that, we've got Facebook, Twitter, and the web platform. Yeah, with this one, the Young Farmer Business Network, we've got the Facebook and the web platform. I probably should put on here, we've also got some YouTube accounts and also some Twitter accounts with our Grow Notes Alert project, and we've got a VicGovGreens Twitter account. So a bit of a mix, and then I've also got a hockey Facebook page, which I'm an admin on as well. So it's a different type of audience, I guess. So my question there was to add your accounts into the chat box, just to show the variety of different accounts that everyone on here on this webinar today manages or is part of. And we'll see what sort of experience we have. And even other things, I know, Nikki, if you're in there, you've got an Instagram page.
LinkedIn
which is a bit different to other communities. LinkedIn, yep. So it shows that you can have different things other than what we just use. But so keep adding them as I'm going. Yep, it's got the dairy and precision ag, Nico, thank you. Very, yeah, Becky, there you go. You've got some really good ones going on with the rural women, so be keen for you to add some thoughts as we go through with what we're doing and some of your ideas. So with the Young Farmer Business Network, so as I mentioned before, we're going to use it as a bit of a case study for some of the things we're trying and sort of what's working and what's not working based on previous experiences. And yeah, this is a brand newie. First went live, yeah, sort of back in November. We really only started posting content sort of January, and it was only just a little bit of content, like a couple of articles, and then we've been ramping that up over the last couple of months. So initially we decided to do a Facebook, we did a page and a group, which got very confusing. So we've pulled it back to just a Young Farmer Business Network Facebook page, which is very different, I think, to what most other communities of practice have. And the field crop diseases, we went, yeah, we've got a Facebook page. So yeah, it's kind of the first one dabbling in a group, a page as opposed to, sorry, a group as opposed to a page. So it does get really confusing, and there's different sort of slight differences with both. But yeah, we'll go through what we've done. So what else have we got there? Horse education, Facebook pages, and the other ones are already there. So how we've gone about growing our Facebook followers. So first of all, we set an objective. So at first we thought it was pretty steep. So from our go live with our Facebook group, we wanted to try and get to 500 followers or members by the 30th of July. So yeah, at first you can see by the blue line, we might have been a little bit ambitious trying to get to that 500 when we haven't even had an official launch as such. But yeah, we're tracking really well, and we've just increased it now just before I looked, and we're up to 434 members. So I think we're going to reach that 500 easily, well and truly before 30th of July. So what we've done, I guess, to get there, one of the easiest and simplest and most effective ways has been just when inviting people to that page. So you literally just go into where it says more on your page, hit those three little dots and click invite members, and you can type in people's names and invite them, and then encourage, I guess the real winner is encouraging other people to do the same. So for example, in our we just had a Young Farmer Business Network community practice meeting, and one of our new community practice members, who's a new economist in the department, he joined up to the Facebook group during the session, and then he shared that to a Melbourne University agriculture page, and we went from, I think, Sarah, 415 members
12.
or so, up 412 up to that 434 just in a matter of 15-20 minutes. So you can really sort of have quite big growth just by using your networks and getting them to use their networks. Example on this, if you all go into your Facebook and type in Young Farmer Business Network, Sarah might even get you to put the link in the chat box for me, and go in, like the page or join the group, and then once you're a member of the group, then encourage you to invite that to others, and that's how pages can grow very quickly. So if there's any questions on that, just shoot them in the chat box. The other thing that we found is really effective is to link to existing groups. So it's in the same little functionality box. You hit the more again, and then you can link existing groups. So we've linked in some relevant young farmer organisations, but one of the biggies for us has been to link it to Agriculture Victoria. So, they've got 10,000 likes on their Facebook page. So sort of linking with other people that can then, again, share content from your page, and they can see what you're posting, and also, reshare their articles so you're getting a greater coverage on your page. So it's really about thinking, what organisation benefits you? What are the influences, as Gavin mentioned there, for your for your community of practice? So again, in the chat, add who are your influencers. Have a think. Like, I know field crop diseases, our influencers are, GRDC, grains organisations. For the Young Farmer Business Network, it's all about, Agriculture Victoria, our members of our community practice. So we've got some private consultants with Meridian Agriculture, ORM, Gavin is on the community practice, so Cumbrae Consulting. So it's about linking up to all of their sort of business pages.
Cal, I might just jump in there for a second if I can.
Go for it.
Just to say that the Vic Rural Women's Network has just linked to our Facebook group as well. And when I was doing the analytics for our website and Facebook group earlier today, I discovered that over 60% of our members in the group are actually women. So that is going to potentially be really beneficial for both the Vic Rural Women's Network and us as well, that we can, link to each other's communities of practice.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Sarah. And then one of the things I know Nikki, when she did her webinar, it was probably about 6 months or so ago, Nikki, talking about social media marketing, it's also about knowing who your audience is. So if, as Sarah mentioned, if we know a lot of our audience are younger females interested in agriculture, then we can also start targeting the content towards that audience. So the other thing that we're trying to do with the Young Farmer Business Network is to use automation tools to boost our activity. So instead of, I guess, up till now, some of the times that we've posted on Facebook and on our webpage have been when we've had time during the week. So now we're trying to get more organised at scheduling a time to do those Facebook posts and the web posts, but automating them so you can schedule those posts so they pop up over a series of days rather than posting all your content on a Friday or your content on a Monday when you've got time. So with a Facebook group, you can do that directly within Facebook. If you have a Facebook page, we use a scheduling tool like Buffer, which is really good to use, and it's also good for accountability. So you can schedule a post and send it to someone else to approve, so you've got that extra, I guess, authentication of your content. But yeah, it's just about having that time to schedule them rather than just trying to rush them out or having 5 at once. So if you're not looking at that time, you might miss that post. Cool. And another one, which is Becky, I know that you've been working with Dennis with the extensionAUS platform to have a pop-up. So I guess we're sort of going to jump on the back of that idea. So when people do come to our page, our pop-up will be to encourage people to join our Facebook page. In Becky's case, it's going to be to join their newsletter or subscribe to the network. But also having something front and center on that webpage to say, you know, to join your social media account. So when we sort of looked over our web page, there was nothing right at the top that says, you know, join our Facebook group. You know, there's often the social media icons right down the bottom, or if you go into the contact us section, there's the links to the social media, but really having something front and center for that call to action to join, you know, what it is you're promoting them to join, right there on the home page. So, and it might be something with extensionAUS that we can work on as well by having that join or sign up on that website more front and center. The other thing that we tried last week, so we were doing, I said, a lot of the promotion, like encouraging, you know, inviting people to join and encouraging them to invite people. Another thing that we tried is an email campaign. So we set this email up there in using Campaign Monitor and scheduled that to go out to all past participants of Young Farmer Business Bootcamps. So you see the call to action there. We've had, you know, clear links to join our Facebook group and clear links to visit the website. So yeah, the email went out to 260 past participants, and yeah, we sort of had about another 20 people join the network as a result, or join the Facebook group as a result of that. So we're kind of hoping for a little bit more probably return for effort rate, but you know, again, it boosted some numbers, and any newsletter we do from now on, we'll make sure that we do the same and sort of again look at how we, you know, had that links. Did we have them, you know, was the call to action clear enough? Was it up top enough? So it's, I guess, constantly that continuous improvement of what you do, assessing, did it work, did it not work, what you do differently next time. And one of the other big things with the Young Farmer Business Network we're trying to do is encourage two-way conversation. And I know I've had conversations when Greg Turner was still around with the irrigation network, community practice, about how we engage two-way conversations. And I guess it doesn't happen overnight. You really do need to start small, keep the conversation going, keep asking questions, creating polls, and I guess giving people that safe place to respond, to comment, to know that that's part of the network. So some of those analytics there are posts on Facebook that we've kind of asked for questions or posted about the rainfall, and they've had our highest sort of, I guess, engagement rate by people viewing that piece on Facebook. In terms of actual comments, we haven't had, you know, as much as we would have liked, but the number of comments are growing each time we do one of these pieces. So our sort of plan is to keep that going, keep the conversation going. And in our community practice meeting just before, we've agreed to sort of try and think of some sort of question to ask the Facebook users sort of once a month that encourages that conversation, and for each of us in the community practice to sort of add to that to try and encourage users to get on there and talk back and forth.
Kel, just to interrupt there, just while we're on the subject of Facebook, so Ruth's put a question in there about how you set up your Facebook business pages when you do as an organisation and connecting it to a profile.
Yeah, so in terms of the Facebook business page, so to connect to your profile, it was really tricky. So to set up a page and to not have it as a person was extremely hard, and to try and get the right name that got us to get through. Yeah, so it's, and then I guess we set up a dummy profile in the end. So the AgVic Young Farmer Project is a dummy profile. So we can post from that to our Facebook page. But yeah, it is really tricky, and it takes a bit of thought, Ruth, about even the difference between a Facebook page, Facebook group, and then Facebook profile, whether you want to post as yourself as a profile or whether you want a dummy one like what we did. Yes, that's how I set up the Tocal Facebook pages, creating the alias. Yeah, and I think that was the way that we ended up, what we decided to go with as well, was to create that alias that doesn't have any friends, but we can use it to post those conversations rather than it being, from us. And then initially we set up the Facebook page to do that, but it got way too confusing having a page and a group at the same time. So that's why we have hidden the page, gone with the group and the alias.
Can I just add a quick thing there, Kellyanne? It's Becky.
Go for it.
Just completely admitting a failure here. So when we set ours up about a year ago, it's really easy to, when you're on your dummy page, to post stuff, and it's posted on your dummy page and not on your actual page. You just got to be really careful about that. It's happened a few times, and also just when you're liking other people's pages, just making sure that you are in the right section. You're not in the dummy person as opposed to the actual page, if you know what I'm saying. So when you're liking other people's pages, for example, our dummy page is Victoria VRWN or something, we don't want to be liking pages as that person. We want to be liking pages as our official Victorian Rural Women's Network page.
Yeah, and I've done the same thing, Becky. Like, I've posted a content and thought I had a great little piece on Facebook, and I'm looking at my phone, I'm thinking, no one's commented, no one's liked it or shared it or anything, and then I realised I posted it on the alias account instead of on the Facebook page. So very easy mistake to make. I'm glad, Becky, I'm not the only one that's done it. The other thing that creates great engagement is video. So it's a well-known fact, videos seem to just capture people's attention and have greater views than a text-based post. So when I looked through our page the other day, we seem to have a lot more text-based posts. So one of our sort of, I guess, aims over the next little while is to increase the amount of videos that we do, and really trying to get more engagement with some really compelling videos telling the story of the sort of young farmer journey and seeing how that goes with driving content. So I guess, in the comment box, add your views on video versus text-based posting and how you found each to be. Or unmute yourself and feel free to jump right in.
One comment there, Cal, while other people think of things, is when you're doing your posts, it's worth like searching through YouTube or other sources of video information, and if there is something there, linking it through on your posts. So even if there is often something there that would be of interest in your topic, that is already there sitting on YouTube. So it really does lift the I guess, the engagement with your post.
Yeah, and it was probably another mistake that we made setting this one up was our internal approvals process, like we need to get like digital management committee approval to set up the Facebook accounts and the web platform, etc. And we didn't get a YouTube channel for the Young Farmer Business Network, so that has held us back in posting video content. So my suggestion for any other internal AgVic communities of practice going forward is to ensure that you get that, I guess, have that method to posting video content, or what YouTube channel you're going to use to post videos that you make.
This is Ruth. I just have one comment about video for Facebook posts. I've found that with our Tocal College pages, we get a lot of shares when we put videos up, and it also helps with building your YouTube channel as well, because you can send them off to see other videos, and sort of they counteract each other. You get likes on both.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's definitely worthwhile, isn't it? The other thing that's been, or we're going to try with the Young Farmer Business Network is our next little thing is to run some engagement ads. So engagement ads are quite straightforward. When you have a Facebook page, you can set up in the ad creator and off you go. When you have a group, it gets a little more tricky. So my workaround that I've been working on is to do a post on my alias account and then share that or post that then in the Facebook group. So it's a bit clunkier when you have a Facebook group as opposed to when you've got a page when you can just promote that page or sponsor that page. And you often see on Facebook when there's a, an event or a page that's comes up as being sponsored. So, you can go in behind and choose, your audience and which region. You can target it quite narrow to who you want to have that pop up on the Facebook account. And it can be quite successful. So one that we did last year with the field crop diseases. So that was our sponsored ad, and we did spend, you can see there over to the right hand side, $449 on that sponsorship over, I think it was like 10 weeks or so, but we did gain an extra 922 likes out of running that sponsored post. So yeah, definitely worthwhile. And you can see up the top right hand side, it shows what we targeted. So yeah, narrowed that down to the locations and age groups and sort of key words to match that community of practice. So Kyle, any comment on costs? What sort of costs are you referring to there? The costs on the spend there, Kyle, or costs usually on Facebook promotions? Yes, so that one was quite a big spend because we did it over quite a significant amount of time. But then you sort of divide that, $449 divided by your likes, and it's a pretty effective, I guess, dollars per new like. Other promotions, like promoting posts and stuff, you can do it for as easily as like $5 to $10. And we've got a whole lot of analytics that I can share after this on posts that we've sponsored or promoted and got thousands of extra people to see that particular piece of content. So the field crop diseases, we use that as quite a regular strategy, and if there's a particular issue or a particular community practice member who wants to get that content out, then we'll definitely promote those posts. And the average spend is probably $10 to $50 depending on what you're getting out. And it does boost followers as well. So the more people that see it, they tend to then like your page. So if you're sharing good content and they like it, then they'll like your page. And you know that yourself when you're on social media. If you're directed to someone's piece of content and you like it, then you'll tend to like that business or that page. So 500 members by 30th of July. What's the target we're aiming for? Yeah, unsure, Gavin. I will probably go for the triple figures net, or go to the 1,000 mark for our next by maybe December, and see how that goes. I think we'll reach the 500 well and truly before July 30, and then we'll see. I think our next little target will be get to 1,000.
Yeah, and I guess the point I'm making there too is that by having a focus around engagement and then doing the boosts or ads or whatever it might be, the strategy you're going to use, by having a focus, you're actually working towards it, because we can get trapped into just providing the getting our posts done and what have you. But it's actually then saying, well, what are we really trying to achieve with engagement, and having a target, like you guys set a target of 500 by July, and well done in reaching it. That's a fair effort. But if we don't have a focus, then we're just shotgunning. Was it Becky mentioned some about Facebook boost too in the chat there, Kel and Sarah?
Yeah, I think that boosts you can do boost. We haven't done that with this one yet. Becky, have you done it for yours?
No, and I'm interested in doing it for the Leadership and Mentoring Program launch, but we'd need to get approvals. But I'm just interested in knowing the cost, the average cost.
Yeah. So with our field crop diseases, we're quite fortunate that we can do that because it's an externally funded project. The internal AgVic groups you can do through comms, and I believe the cost has come right down. Louise has actually just done a boost on the Black Spot Manager. So I'll check out the cost of that one and send it around to the AgVic groups. But those that aren't sort of in government groups, you can do boosts quite cheaply. So if you mean just sort of sponsoring an article, we do that all the time in field crop diseases, and it costs us between $10 and $50 to do like a boost of a piece of content, and it's well worth the money. So the stats might go from hundreds to 1,000 people looking at an article to sort of thousands of people looking at an article. So it does get quite it's well worth the money. And I guess Facebook, it's sort of because of their algorithms behind it, really you do need to pay to play. And that was one of the reasons we went with the Young Farmer Business Network to a page. I'm getting confused, to a group, because each time we post on the group, a little message will go to every member of that group at the moment. Whereas when you post to your page, it might, only 20 to 30% of your people that like your page might actually see that content. So unless you're paying to sponsor it or to boost it, then you're sort of getting less and less people that might actually see your content. So that's why we went a page, even though it's a little bit harder to operate, because you do get that message at the moment to each individual person each time there is a new bit of content, and it's up to them whether they go in and look at it. And you'll see from these content pieces, we've got 400 odd members, but roughly sort of 200 odd were viewing each of our content pieces. So if you looked at that from a Facebook page perspective, that rate would be a lot lower, and that's when you do need to pay to play. Yeah. Any other questions on
just
Facebook?
A little bit.
Go,
sorry, Cal, just a little bit there on costs as well. I think you really need to work out what your budget is. So as a project team or whatever, you need to sit down and work out what your budget is and work out what your spend could potentially be, and just don't go over it. The good thing about Facebook is that you can put in how much you want to spend, and then Facebook will sort of average it out over how many days you want to do it or whatever. There's a lot of different settings that you can put in if you use the Facebook ad manager, and that'll help to make sure that you're not going over your costs.
Alrighty, over to you, Sarah, for some web traffic, how we're trying to increase our web traffic.
Well, I'll try. Bear with me, everyone, because I am very new to this, but Cal, you've got control. Thank you. So going back also to the social media things that Cal mentioned right at the start, setting an objective. So we set an objective for both the social media and our website as well. And at this point, our objective is to really increase our page views to the Young Farmer Business Network website. We really want people coming to view our content, as I'm sure everybody else does as well. So setting an objective helps you to sort of target to that, to try and get to where you need to get that traffic onto your website. Do I switch, Cal? Thank you. Developing a unique selling proposition. So Cal and I have both recently just done a bit of a social media course, well, a digital marketing course, should I say, and they were very, they talked a lot about figuring out what your unique selling proposition is. So what sets you apart from everybody else out there that's putting the same sort of information out there. You could kind of think of it as a bit of a vision or a mission statement as well. So we are thinking of how we can potentially put our unique selling proposition onto our web page, really putting it front and center there, so that as soon as people land on our homepage, they're seeing what our kind of mission is. Ours at the moment is sort of still in refinement. Some of the feedback Cal got from the course was that it was too long, so we are going to sit down and try to refine that a little bit and really make sure we're hitting the nail on the head there. So yeah, Gavin has put a message in the chat, what are your unique selling propositions? If anybody has anything they want to add to the chat about that.
Yeah, and Becky, I see your comment about, and that was when we did this digital marketing course, I thought of you guys with the updates to the web platform and how there will be, how you're working with Dennis to have that section, to have, that vision in there. And I think it's really important for us all when someone comes to your page to instantly know what they've arrived on and what's in it for them. So look at yours, Becky. That's so much straightforward than my government speak.
Yours is probably a lot more closer to a mission statement, like short and to the point of, I bet it did take a while. Yeah, very much to the point of what you are trying to do there, and that's to connect Victorian rural women together. So I'll touch a little bit now on optimizing the SEO on the website. So for those who don't know, SEO stands for search engine optimization, and that is basically how well your web page and all of your pages appear in a search engine. So some tips on optimizing your whole web page to keep your headings and your resource tabs and all those kind of things very to the point and user focused. Make sure that your web page is mobile friendly. I am a little bit of a failure there, actually. I have never got onto the extensionAUS web page on my mobile before. That'll be one to tick off. To make sure that all your articles have images and always link to further information. So anything that you think could potentially be relevant to somebody reading that, it's always a really good idea to link to that. And especially if you're writing an article you're putting on there that is similar to something that you may have done in the past, or maybe you're writing an article about something and you've got a video or something that you've done in the past, you can always link back to your own material. So that's really good way to get people onto other pages on your site as well. Make sure all your images have got a sufficient description and that they've got alt text sitting behind that image as well, so that you don't have any issues if somebody's using a screen reader or something like that. It just helps your website to be really accessible. Publishing content regularly keeps the engagement going with people if they know that you're going to be publishing on a regular basis. If you don't publish something for a couple of months, they're not going to be seeing you as someone that's timely and a really good place to come and get information. Also, pretty sure everybody here is on an extensionAUS site, but there is the Yoast SEO function on WordPress through the extensionAUS, and that makes sure that you're hitting the optimization. As long as you're getting a green light, then you are optimizing that web page to make sure that it's coming up in hits on social search engines.
Yeah, and there's a question there from Kyle about driving traffic to the web page through social media. What advice do you have about the selling proposition on social? I don't know if it's my advice, but some of the comments that I had back during that course was about I guess being true to that unique selling proposition and really thinking about what it is that you have that's unique and different to everyone else that has, websites or content that's similar to yours. So it's trying to find that point of difference and why people should visit you or use your social media or go through to your website.
I think it's also really important with using social media. It's really kind of important these days to get personal, I guess. You really want people to see you as people behind a page, not just something that's just pushing stuff out all the time. That you really want people to see that there are actually people behind the social media posts that are putting in the effort to make it engaging for other people, for users. So it's not a bad thing to get personal. You really want to create a relationship with your audience. So write the way that your audience would write with each other, if that makes sense. So we're targeting the young farmer business network, so we're targeting young farmers. It's it's that kind of demographic, so we kind of write to suit that demographic. And hopefully that helps get some people over to our webpage from social media.
Kyle had some more questions there, Sarah.
Kyle has put a few questions up. I'm trying to work through. So comments on web accessibility guidelines and web content publishing. I'm not quite sure who you are, Kyle.
Kyle works with DOR. So he used to be with GRDC and is working on the potentially new communities of practice with Plant Health Australia and with us on the peri-urban space. And
so within government then?
Yeah, so all of I guess the web accessibility guidelines, so any of the communities of practice, I know that Agriculture Victoria have put up, when we put through the digital management applications, we need to ensure that we're meeting those accessibility guidelines. So being part of government, we need to ensure that, we're hitting that. So we do follow those guidelines. And I'm pretty sure, Ruth, New South DPI, you guys would be the same, wouldn't you? Probably well and truly on mute. I know it's something that we definitely adhere to and keep an eye on, and it's part of that, adding that alt text in your images, and when you post a YouTube video, making sure that you've got your closed captions and different bits and pieces. So there are some checklists out there to ensure that you're following those guidelines.
Kelly, I just put up a URL for this guide that I use. It's put out by the government. I'm not sure if it's a digital government, but it covers heaps of information about videos, writing for the web, accessibility guidelines, PDFs, has a lot in it. So that could be helpful for some people.
Yeah. Cool. Keep going, Sarah, and then we'll come back to the other questions as we go.
Chat's gone. My chat's having a meltdown. It's not coping. So making sure that all your articles have a call to action, and that your call to action is placed relatively right up the top of the article. Some of the key things for our site is that we have credible content. We're trying to create an open and honest relationship with our audience, and our team specifically, as I'm sure most of you are as well, but we have a high expectation of quality in our team. So everything gets reviewed. We have technical reviewers and we have team reviewers as well, to make sure that everything is all checked out, that nothing sort of slips through the gaps. I myself am very big on having everything the same, which I'll touch on a little bit further along, and to use visible content where possible. It seems to be a lot more engaging for people if they've got visual content and images and videos and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and that was coming back to one of your questions, Kyle, about the need for authenticity while also marketing. So it is a real, I guess it's a toss of the coin sometimes, but it's about, I think our first and foremost is about having credible content and sort of timely and relevant, and then while also trying to market your website and your Facebook accounts, but also always having that, being true to who you are and what you're doing first, rather than sort of just promoting your pages or your groups for the sake of it. Next page, Sarah.
We kind of just touched on a little bit of that there. Part of creating that relationship, consider storytelling to your audience. You're not just putting things on there for the sake of putting things on there. Think of it as that you're really trying to reach out to them by telling a story, make it engaging. So we are also trying to engage our young farmers on the group to tell us their stories as well. So we're not just telling them a story, we want them to tell us their stories, and we want them to tell each other their stories and their, what's worked and not worked for them. And we will also be looking into using more case studies, hopefully in the near future as well, for some of our articles as well. Some of the points of really optimizing your web page. So I touched before on that Yoast SEO. So you really need to identify the keywords for your article, and there's a focused key phrase that you put in. This is sitting on the bottom of all new article on WordPress. I'm sure most of you have probably found it or know a little bit about it, but if you follow the points and the recommendations that they have there for any problems or intermediate issues that you might have, and try to really fix those things, well, to make sure that they're optimized for search engines. So the more green lights you get, the better it's going to show up on search engines. Good comment there, Kyle. Yep. You can also edit the meta description. So one thing that's really important is that your meta description doesn't have to be like the first paragraph of the article or something like that. You can pretty much write in there whatever you want that you think is going to get people onto that article from the search engine. It needs to be not too long and not too short, and the Yoast SEO thing will help you with making sure that it is green. If it's green, then you're within that space. If it's orange, it's no good, try again. So part of our quality assurance on all of our articles is that they all need to be green lights on everything. Everything needs to make sure that it's optimized. You can also change your SEO title as well. So the Yoast SEO will automatically pick up your SEO title from your website name and what your article title is, but you can change that. You don't need to keep it exactly the same. If you want to shorten down, say, like this one here, the article is called the Young Farmer Business Network, and it's on the Young Farmer Business Network. So we could have changed our title, our page title there, if we wanted to make it something a little different, but it kind of fit within the suggested length, so we left that as is. We also go through, and I'm sorry to the Rural Women's Network for taking a screenshot of your photos. But since the extensionAUS website upgrade, we have found on the advice from Dennis that making sure all our images are the same size, it really kind of keeps it clean across our web page. You know, I was just scrolling through some of the others and they've got different size images and stuff, and they kind of sit here, there and everywhere, all in different places. They're all different sizes. Some of them are portraits, some of them are landscape, some of them are really big, some of them are little. You know, so one of the things, sorry, Becky, one of the things that I make sure happens for all of our images and stuff is that they're all the same size. We have a template that I made up on Canva, and we basically just drag and drop it into the template. We've got the link there for Canva. Yes, it can be tricky with portrait shots, Becky, but I guess that comes down to making sure that you're picking the right picture as well. So even though it might just be a nice portrait shot, you might go, well, it kind of might not look that great, so we'll think of something else instead. You know, that's just one thing that we do. Or even with this image template being so long and I guess short, is that if it is a portrait shot, I kind of drop it into the middle. So it's got sort of a white banner on either side, but as I download it from Canva, I download it with a transparent background, which when you put it on the web page takes the white parts out of it, and it sits perfectly centered within the screen instead of sitting over to the left-hand side. So yeah, that's just one of the ways that we sort of picked up to make everything kind of look the same, keeping that consistency across the whole website. And yeah, that's the website to Canva there that we use for a lot of our things. So part of that web accessibility again is breaking your text into paragraphs, following the correct heading hierarchy, you know, making sure that your spelling and grammar are on point. And that's, again, one of the reasons why we have so many reviewers on our articles, just to make sure that little things, you know, they don't slip through the gaps. Because sometimes when you've looked at something, you know, 50 times, sometimes mistakes can be missed. So it's always good to get somebody else or a couple of people to have a look before publishing. Keeping every article to the same quality, it helps to improve that relationship with the user and the audience, and it just makes your web page look, you know, look great. Like as an example here, I put this picture up because you can see that our color is dark green, which all of our links look almost the same color as the text. So one way to go around that is that all of the links that go into all of our web pages need to be in bold, just to make them stand out a little bit better. So once again, it's just that consistency across all the web pages, and that quality is the same on every article. If you want to take back over, Kel.
No, I just hit the wrong button. But yes,
So
but I
I was
can.
done anyway.
But yeah, lastly, it's like, I guess, don't be afraid to give things a go. And we certainly, you know, tried lots of different things. Some have worked, some haven't. Often we're trying something like these dogs and thinking, what do we actually do next? But I guess it's using the team and asking others, you know, what do you think and what should we do? So I guess the world of sort of social media marketing and sort of building that engagement, it's still fairly new. You know, there's lots of ideas if you Google it, but a lot of people are still learning as they're going. And yeah, Facebook keep changing things as well. So to keep on top of what's going on and what's working for that point in time, yeah, just keep trying and keep asking questions. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of what we wanted to cover today. So yeah, if there's any questions or comments or things that you would do differently, or suggestions for us, yeah, all of the above, go for it. Take yourselves off mute and ask away.
After you, well, perhaps just to see it, perhaps even you, Ruth, with all your experience with the different things that you've been doing, is there any tips or tricks or things that you would add?
You seem to be covering everything that I would think of, and mainly, yes, it's trying different things. Some of them work, some of them don't, but yeah, definitely give them a go. And probably different things will work for different COPs as well.
That is a very
absolutely.
good point.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any examples of some good wins they've had, like, you know, some aha moments where a little strategy has come to life? You know, we go like, that one worked. So perhaps even Sarah, from your perspective,
I
with
can
the
chip in here. It's Becky.
Yes, Becky.
Yeah. So we were very fortunate to have an extra resource over the last month or so, and she's been working on helping us improve our engagement on social media and on our website. And we've really noticed our numbers go up like almost double by just pre-scheduling things in a template, just so sort of planning ahead a bit more. And then, so when we put our newsletter up, for example, we'll do 2 posts per week. Because what we were finding was we were doing so much work and effort into a newsletter of, like, you know, 12 stories, and then uploading them all onto the website. And then people were opening the Campaign Monitor email and reading the beginning of the stories and then not necessarily clicking through onto the website. So by scheduling 2 posts per week, even after the newsletters, the Campaign Monitor newsletters been emailed out, it's meant that people will click through from Facebook onto specific stories. And we sort of shifted their focus back to the website. And that's really helped. And also just doing more personal stories. People really love those personal stories about people's triumphs and failures and, you know, out in the regions. And so when we focused on our reference group members, we've got 18 in our reference group, we did a post on each of them and spread them out over the last couple of months. And that's also really helped bring engagement from right across Victoria, because the reference group members are all sort of placed in different parts of Victoria. So we found that worked really well for getting the word out right across the state as well. Yeah, I just wanted to say those things.
Yeah, I really love that, those personal stories that you guys do, and I'd love to sort of mirror that with the young farmer one. Works really well. And the photo competition, Becky, do you want to talk about that to everyone? That worked really well too.
Yeah, so we did a photo competition for International Day of Rural Women last October, and actually came from a bit of a conversation I had with Yanni at the boot camp, and with yourself, Kellyanne. And yeah, it worked really well. We didn't have to spend a lot of money on it. We just got some, you know, selfie sticks from Kmart and sort of got some fairly cheap prizes together, but people didn't seem to mind. It was just more about sharing their photos. Pictures are so powerful, and people share them more than anything else, really. So yeah, that was a very successful campaign and really gave us a spike in our engagement as well.
Yeah, cool. And I like that, Nico, you're turning your potential photo competition into a calendar. That's pretty cool.
Excellent. Any other key things?
Giveaways on social media as well. Sorry, this is Becky again. We've done some giveaways on social media. So we did a giveaway competition for the VOCAG conference, and that also brought some good engagement too.
Thanks, Becky. Anything else people would like to add, or any key questions? Perhaps we should, start a discussion board or even a closed Facebook group for us all to keep these conversations going, all the tips and tricks that people learn along the way, because it's those little gems that people have rolled over and found out what happens next that we could share as we go along.
That's a great idea, Gavin.
You think so, Sarah? We could do something like that? It'd be worthwhile if we started a closed group or something?
I reckon, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You can ask questions too if you want to try something. Like, it took quite a bit of searching the other day to work out how to actually do a promo on a Facebook page, group. God, I still get it confused. So yeah, like even if someone wants to try something, you could even just ask that question: has anyone done this? How did you go about it? What worked? What didn't work? So that could be quite good.
Excellent. Well, it's 4:30, so opportunity for any last questions or any key points that people would like to make. All good. Well, really, I really must close off and thank both Kel and Sarah for really putting through a really thought-provoking, and they put some effort into making us all think. So thank you both very much, and for all of you tipping in, like particularly examples that people have put through on the chat box. That's fantastic, and it gets us all thinking. Even though we live and breathe this space, it shows just how much we can learn by continuing to share. So.
Yeah, I've never seen the chat box so busy, so it's great to see. And Becky's comment there about committing to posting a link to each other's social media pages, definitely we should all take that as ways an action, I reckon, to share each other's. So great idea.
We can share them in the Facebook group Gavin's going to create.
Okay, no, job done. I think we should do that. Yeah, excellent. We shall go ahead. Well, thank you all for attending. It's great to have so many communities of practice represented, and we'll keep the conversation going because I think this is a key challenge for us all, to be honest. And it's so easy to get busy, ticking the box with our content. So thank you both once again. We will sign off now and finish the recording, but we'll make this available. So if you've got other people that are in your team or perhaps new people that start in the future and they'd like to use this recording, please invite them to do so. I'll have it up tomorrow. Excellent. We shall sign off.
Thanks, Gavin.
Thank you all.
Right, thank you.
Thanks all.